Welcome back to Pens and Tea, everybody. My name is Carrie, and today we're going to be talking about a tea that you're going to want to drink when you're sick, and the Kustoms Ink fountain pen. So if you're like me at all, I like to drink a lot of teas when I'm feeling ill. And I like to drink a lot of herbal teas, a lot of peppermint teas, things that kind of feel like, they're clearing up the sinuses and whatnot. And that is perfect for cold 911. This is a sample size. When you order from David's Tea online, you get 3 of these size teas, which will get you about 2 cups of tea for free. You can choose, they usually have about 10 teas, 8 to 10 teas that you can choose from, which samples you want, or you can have them do a completely random selection. This is one that I pretty much get every time as one of my 3, and that's cold 911. It says bad colds require badass interventions. Take this tea, for example. It's a deliciously smooth mix of peppermint, juniper berries, and eucalyptus. It's an herbal infusion. Basically, put it into fully boiled water. You let it steep for about 4 to 7 minutes, completely caffeine-free, and it makes you feel better. It's kind of like, those like drinks that you're supposed to drink when you're really sick. That's kind of like the Vicks Vapor Rub almost, and it's not good. It's supposedly lemony. I can't remember what they're called, but I hate them. They're so gross. But this I really like because you get a lot of that relief feeling. You get that peppermint, you get that eucalyptus. So you get a little bit of that feeling when you drink them, but you don't get any of that like, oh, I'm drinking cold medicine. And that's just blech to me. So this is one that I really enjoy drinking when I'm feeling ill. And because it's caffeine-free, it's sugar-free, it's all that, you can just drink them one after the other if you want. There's no limit to how many you can have. And sometimes just having something warm makes all the difference when you're sick. Whether you're sick or not, though, I think you're going to like this pen. This is the Kustoms Ink fountain pen. I know it's kind of weird to have a fountain pen called ink, but it is I-N-K, just like the ink. This is a solid aluminum pen, so everything about it, with the exception of the steel nib, is aluminum. I have the anodized gray finish with the raw tumbled grip section and a medium steel nib. The beauty of Kustoms is that you can customize. There are a crazy amount of finishes you can get. You can pair it with different grip sections. You can get completely raw metal, you can get colored metal, you can get copper metal, brass. It's totally up to you. I'm not going to go through them all because I'll be here for another 10 minutes just listing them all. But if you go to Kustoms website or like gouletpens.com, anything like that, just take a browse through everything that you can do. There's literally hundreds of choices that you could have. And that's kind of cool because you can make your pen your pen. And I like that. That's a big pro for me, is being able to customize. Another big pro is that the build quality of this seems fantastic. Everything about it, from revealing the standard international cartridge, everything just works so well. It's made really, really well. And because of that, this is what I consider a bust around pen. You can, actually, if you do check out Brian Goulet's video, he didn't take this model, he took the lower end model to this. But essentially, they're the same metal, same everything like that. He chucked it across a parking lot twice, and he ran over it with his car. And all that there was a few dings on the outside. The pen itself was still completely functional. There's just a few little dings around the cap. Who thinks that they can run over their pen with a car? I mean, that is just mind-blowing. So I really, really like that this is a pen I know I can rely on when I want it to be in a rough and tumble situation. And it fits really well in my hand. You cannot post this pen, but That said, you don't need to. So unposted, it's going to be pretty large no matter what. Like even if you were to hold like really weird super grip, it's going to fit. Large hands, small hands, it's going to fit in your hand. One thing I will say though for small hands is that this is a quite heavy pen. This is a solid aluminum pen, so it's all metal. So it's got some heft to it. It's the heaviest pen that I own. Now, this isn't even as heavy as they could go. You can get a solid copper and a solid brass version as well. That's going to be crazy heavy. So just be on the lookout. But if you do have smaller hands, I would actually maybe recommend the Karas Custom Fountain K, which is their other model of fountain pen that they make. It's smaller than this. So maybe check that one out because it won't weigh quite as much. The heaviness could be a plus or a negative for you guys. Definitely cannot eyedropper it. Like I said, it's all metal, but the good thing is that it comes with a standard international cartridge. So you have a wide variety of bottle inks, cartridges, doesn't really matter what you prefer. You have a wide variety of things that you can choose. One thing I will say though is that the threads are a little bit sharp. So this is a machined pen. So it's not like turned on a lathe with, acrylic plastic or anything like that. It's a machined pen. So the threads are a little bit sharp. For me, it doesn't bother me because my hand fits perfectly on the actual grip section. So I don't really touch the threads. Sometimes my thumb will slide back onto them a little bit. And it doesn't bother me really, but you do notice that they're there. So for very long writing sessions, if you hold your thumb on the threads the entire time, you may start to notice that becomes a little bit of an issue for you. And the only other thing is that the clip is pretty much not usable. You'd really have to stretch it, and you'd really have to force it. So I wouldn't recommend using the clip on anything but like rough and tumble jeans. I love the look of the clip, but like I said, it's a machined pen. It's not meant to be like super fancy or anything like that. I don't ever use the clips on any of my pens, so to me, clips are just, roll stops and a decorative thing. So to me, I don't really care. And I like the look. I like the industrial feel of this pen. It's the only one that I have that's like that. But yeah, other than that, I really enjoy this pen. I'll get into the way it writes, like the way that the nib feels in a second when we do the writing sample, but I like it. I really like this nib. It's smooth with just a little bit of a feedback. You can feel it on the paper, but it's certainly not scratchy whatsoever. And when I got it, the tines were perfectly aligned, and the nib, breather hole, everything was perfectly aligned. Another thing I really like about it is that it's fairly wet for being a steel nib. It is a number 6 size nib, so that is nice. It's not a gusher by any means. It's not super wet, but I would not consider this dry. And I actually have a drier ink in here. I have Pelikan Edelstein Tanzanite in this pen right now because I thought it was kind of a nice fit for the finish of this, which I will say looks a little purple on camera than it does in real life. It's a little bit more silvery in real life, but it's pretty close. So I like that. It is, like I said, it's a steel nib, so you'll only be able to squeeze out a little bit of line variation. But you can get some if, push come to shove. You can reverse write, but you can probably hear it's kind of scratchy if you do that. I have not had any issues of this pen drying out or having hard starts, despite the fact that there's no inner seal. It's just a metal cap. So there's nothing fancy in there. So that to me, I'm really, really happy about. And you can push it pretty far before you're going to notice anything. I got one tiny little thing there, but that was it. One thing I'll quickly mention before I say goodbye is that, as you saw in my build of this, the nib is recessed down into the grip section. So when you do fill up the pen, if you do it the old standard way where you just kind of like dip the nib and feed into the pen, you will get some ink collecting down in and around the feed. So if that bothers you, this may not be a good way to go. It doesn't bother me at all. I just take a little paper towel and I kind of just dab it down in there and it sucks it all up in about 2 seconds. And I usually have a paper towel or an ink cloth just to wipe off the nib anyways. So it's just a little tiny extra step that you will have to consider if this is something that you are interested in. But to me, it's worth it to have a pen like this that I literally have no worries about. I think, to be honest, this pen is going to be one that will get better looking in like the more rough shape it is, just like the Midori Traveler's Notebook. But guys, that's enough for me today. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't be afraid to leave them in the comment section below. If you like this video, please subscribe. I put up new videos every Monday and Friday. And if you super liked it, hit that thumbs up. Thanks, guys. Bye.